All right, I wanted to do a little bit of an update here now that some of the update graphics are out. This is going to focus mainly on the Michigan threat of severe weather here for the day and heavy rain. The low pressure system that's in northeastern Iowa, and I'll zoom in on that real quick, is expected to continue moving eastward and will probably be through Michigan by sometime late tomorrow. At least looking at the temperatures at that point, things should start to cool off. Otherwise, what this is creating with that cold front there stretched across northern Lake Michigan to that low in eastern upper Michigan is a day one slight risk that includes a portion of West Michigan. Doesn't include all the way up into northern Michigan, but it does include down here where we're located at, and most of that is expected to be later tonight. To kind of give you an idea, the main threat that we've been looking at is wind, and looking at the legend, the brown is a 5 to 14% chance of severe wind event within 25 miles of any point. So wherever you're sitting, there is a 5 to 14% chance that you'll have a wind event, severe wind, within 25 miles of you. And in the yellow, it's a 15 to 29%. Looking at the tornado threat, that's much lower, and that's expected to stay over in Wisconsin and northern Illinois. So I'm not too concerned about that at this point. As we move on to get a little bit more zoomed in on things, the categorical one basically runs from Manistee to Big Rapids, down 131 to around Kalamazoo, and then it starts to trend back over roughly to Valparaiso or Michigan City, Indiana, although that's on the coast, it's a little bit more than that. So somewhere west of South Bend there. These were all updated as of 11:30 Central Time or 12:30 Eastern Time, so these should all be pretty good. As I said before, the threat in the yellow is 15 to 29%, and the rest of it is 5 to 14%. You see northern Michigan is in that 5 to 14% area, and we'll get to that here in a second. However, there's one other thing that we need to take a look at, and it is the WPC Day 1 slight risk, which runs all the way back into La Crosse and even into northern Minnesota and across northern lower Michigan. One of the things that I noted when I was a forecaster at the Gaylord office was that many times they'll get severe weather downstate, so in the Grand Rapids forecast area or the Detroit forecast area, but then we'd end up with a very large area of precipitation, a precipitation shield that would move across northern Michigan, and that could put down several inches of rain depending on how long it took for it to get across and how hard it was raining. Many times it was raining pretty decently. So with that, we are taking a look at the slight risk. So that's a 15 to 40% chance of any flooding occurring that could lead to exceeding flash flood guidance, which would be the onset of flooding, more than likely. So just to take a look a little bit closer, you see most of it is in northern Michigan, Gladwin, Tawas, down here actually where we're at in West Michigan is actually where our RV is located, is actually within the yellow. But you see Ludington, Gladwin, Big Rapids, Mount Pleasant, Tawas, those areas, and then it stops just short of the bridge there, Sheboygan, over to just north of Petoskey, probably like Goodhart or someplace like that. If you want to look at what the flash flood guidance is, the legend on the bottom shows these greens and blues for 3 hours, 1.75 to 2 inches, and gets as high as 5 inches with the dark browns. So if we kind of take a look at the area, it's been dry enough And a lot of this soil in northern Michigan is sandy, and in lower Michigan for that, just generally in lower Michigan, west of I-75 and 127, are dry enough and sandy enough that 4 to 5 inches in a 3-hour period, the soil can take it, and it will drain off pretty quickly. Now there's a lot of that in between, which you have to be aware of. This comes from the North Central River Forecast Office in Minneapolis. They publish this every day. These greener areas that you see could be clay. Most of northern Michigan, well, the lower peninsula of Michigan, is old lake bottom or has been underneath the glacier back during the glacial times. And so you end up with a lot of sand. You end up with some deposits of clay, like up in eastern upper Michigan. There's a whole area up there next to around, there's a town there right on the Mackinac and Chippewa County lines there that escapes me. Oh, well, Kinchlow is one of the ones where the old Air Force Base was. So that area ends up with a type of clay there. There's Grayling clay, which is some of those green areas there off to the east of Grayling, which would be right in this general area here in the eastern part, the southeastern part of the CWA. There's a lot of farmland up there in the Alpena County and Sheboygan County areas. So those can't quite take as much of the precipitation without getting some sort of flooding going on. Now, things are fairly flat in some of those areas. It's these areas up along the high inland area, which is mostly covered in brown, that we usually have to watch out for. Usually we get any major rains that we can really start getting some flooding out of there. So we're looking at anywhere from 2 to 5 inch an hour, or 5 inches in 3-hour type of rains for that time period. All right, so we will kind of get all this going here. I know I had a few pictures to show as well. Oh, I remember, it's for the Gaylord office. So for the Grand Rapids office, since I happen to be down here, and I have a lot of friends since I grew up south of Holland there in Fenville, the risk for severe weather, this didn't really need to change much, so I didn't worry about updating anything on here. The Grand Rapids office is talking about between 8 and 1 a.m. for the severe weather threat. And we can talk about the flash flood threat in their area when I look at the Gaylord one. There are some sub-severe thunderstorms that are expected here this afternoon. Heavy rainfall is also possible. 60 to 70 mile an hour winds are the main threat, with damaging winds that 20 to 40% range is what it is. To go on and take a look at the Gaylord office, they didn't make a specific graphic here for today. What they did was put out what they call a DSS packet for the emergency managers and such, which is listed on their website. So I kind of took that, a screenshot of that and the flash flood idea, so that we have some of that information here. But they're, again, also looking for sometime between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. A complex of storms. So we're going to get some sort of an MCS, a mesoscale convective system, or a complex of storms that pass through portions of northern lower Michigan. I would also argue parts of southern lower Michigan as well. Later this evening into tonight, with damaging winds being the primary one, along with torrential rains. Localized flooding is possible, with potential for, in some areas, of better than 4 inches of rain by Thursday morning. And then to take a look and kind of hammer home the whole portion of the excessive rain, you can see that same map that I just had gotten done showing you, only this is from 4 a.m. this morning when they created it. So WPC has not really changed this at all since they put the new one out around noon. Thunderstorms will torrential rain with localized flooding possible with any time here after noon, when we're already starting to see some thunderstorms on radar pop up to the 2 a.m. time frame. Remember, most of this is expected to be with a complex of storms with the severe threat, and I would say that as that passes mainly to the south, that we will get into that rain shield that usually happens to the north. And so that is the main concerns that we have. They also have dangerous swim conditions on Lake Michigan across a good portion of anything from Ludington all the way down to the southern end of the lake today. All right, that's the quick idea of what's going on. Otherwise, around the area, not a whole lot. I might do a new update here for the tropical stuff in a little bit if I get a chance to. We are currently cleaning up our RV and getting things ready so that we can move on board our boat sometime here in the next week or so.